Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Welly Wellness Show. We still don't have a name for this show, but we're just going to rock with Welly Wellness Conversations. So my guest today is a holistic health coach, a breath facilitator, and the author of Self-Care for Life in the City. Her name is Francesca Blechner, and I'm really excited to have her here. Francesca, welcome. How are you? And first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to come to be here to have a chat with me today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. And no, it's amazing to connect with you one-to-one, because we were just saying that I can't believe we've actually never met, but
I know.
I feel like I know you because we've sort of been following each other's journey and stuff. So yeah, I'm great. I'm doing good today. Doing great.
Amazing. So Francesca and I sort of met online, but we also have the same background, is that we used to work in movements, but she's also a coach. So today Francesca is going to talk about her book, which I've bought and read last year. And those who follow me on Instagram, you probably saw me being like, oh my God, guys, go and buy it now. So I'm looking into diving into it. My first question to you, also because I kind of sort of know your journey a little bit, is what brought you to this book? What's your journey? What took you? Why Self-Care for Life in the City?
Well, gosh, there's a few reasons why. And I mean, my journey started off, I've always worked in fitness, wellness and health for the last 20 years. So I started off in fitness and personal training. And I did that full steam ahead. And I loved what I was doing. So in my 20s, I was loving personal training, had a full client base, I was teaching classes all hours of the day. And as I often say, is that the busiest times, the peak times, is usually before work, before people go to work, so 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and then in the evenings. And then I might be busy with clients in the day and then do body work and stuff. So that was great in my 20s, running around like a Duracell bunny all over town. In my 30s, started to get pretty burnt out. It was, starting to get tiring. And I started to get really interested as well in the link between stress, hormonal health, adrenal stress, adrenal fatigue. Probably about 10 years ago, I started to become aware of what is actually adrenal fatigue and why does stress affect your hormones. And I started to see the pattern in my clients, especially working in London or working with parents who are juggling full-time work and childcare and young children and the household, and just seeing that pattern of adrenal fatigue in them. So I started to work with them in that way. And then for myself, as I started to get into my just after running around for like 12 15 years all hours of the day, I kept finding that I would keep hitting this cycle of adrenal fatigue as well and burnout. And every time, and so my work started to go a lot more holistic. And I trained with the Czech Institute doing holistic lifestyle coaching, and started to understand much more about the foundational health principles of sleep, of movement, of overtraining, nutrition, and our mindset and breathing, and all of these things. And every time I went to do a course as well, often a bodywork training course, and of course we sample what we do, and I would just be mashed up by the end. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how burnt out I was. Why am I having such dramatic effect through this reset in a way? So it was a real reflection to me to go, wow, to look at the pace that I was living in my life. And so really over the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years, I've just kind of, over a journey of discovery, of honing my craft and learning and studying different things, I put those principles into the way that I worked, and then slowly have come off from personal training and work in a much more holistic way, doing lifestyle coaching, particularly focusing on burnout. So the reason I wrote the book was that I was just seeing this rising epidemic, really the last 7 years, of anxiety, stress, depression, burnout.
Yeah.
It wasn't anymore one in every few people. It was literally every other person. And then the age was getting younger and younger. I was meeting people in their 20s with chronic fatigue, with ME, autoimmune disease. And I was like, wow. I mean, even that wasn't really present when I was in my 20s. There wasn't really that many people. So what's going on here? And then just doing research, learning that 1 in 2 people, the stats say 1 in 2 people get cancer, and all of these lifestyle diseases that are really determined by lifestyle environment and environment, because there's only a very few percentage of diseases which are genetically inherited. So then what is the other factor? It's lifestyle, it's environment. Because if we know that epigenetics determines whether a gene is expressed or not is determined by our lifestyle and environment, then actually we have a lot more power. And so the reason I wrote the book was that I wanted to put in everything that I knew that I had applied to myself and to my clients to go, actually, those stats, I don't accept that. I don't accept that as normal. And so what can we do about it? And so that's why I wrote the book, was to really help people to get that foundational principles for themselves that goes a little bit deeper than perhaps what we're told, because we have to look at where is our food coming from. If most of the water sources in the world are polluted through chemicals and that, how can we actually get good quality drinking water if most of our body is made up of water? So lots of things that really make it,
it's basically
in the right way.
Yeah, it's a whole journey that basically took you here to the book, right?
Yeah, and also I wanted to have something that people could take, because I found that how can I repeat myself to each individual person? It wasn't possible. I was having the same conversations like, do you know what? Just put it in a book.
Nice, amazing. Well, we are very grateful for this book, let me tell you. Really grateful. So I bought it last year when it came out, when you shared it on Instagram. I bought it, and it's actually quite it's a thin book, right? It's really thin, super easy to read. And I read it the first time in almost a year ago, and I just thought this is the easiest thing ever, because so first of all, the book is spread in 3 parts, which I love: the mind, the body, and the soul, right? And I just the one thing I loved, I was going back to let me find it, was at the end of each little chapter, there's this thing called health bank deposit. And then you talk us through what to do. So I'm an actionable person. As a coach, I believe in actions. I do like chatting. I do like explaining. I love theory. I studied 3 years of science and food and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, what can we do to get there? I want to get to A now, just let me know. And I just love that. That's what I love the most about your book, that at the end of each chapter, there's a recap. Buy a journal, bathe in feeling of gratitude. Every now and again, go on a rampage of appreciation, do the gratitude exercise. And then you have the same thing for the food. Boom, boom, boom. And I just thought, you know what? If someone out there and they're struggling and they're like, I don't know where to start, this is a great start. Just get it. It's true that we need accountability a lot of the time, but just get this and start talking, sort of, taking one advice at a time. Do you agree with me?
Yeah. Thank you. It's always so nice, humbling to hear feedback as well. Even it's like, oh my gosh, you read it. Yeah, it does say that. It's so nice to hear what other people have taken from it. And that's the thing, the health bank deposits, because I know that I've worked in London for 20 years pretty much. And so I know that if you, especially working with clients one-to-one back in the day of personal training, if you try and get them to change everything overnight, and they've already got a really busy lifestyle, working, managing kids or whatever, running their own business, it's just it's not going to happen. They'll just go into this self-sabotage cycle. Occasionally it happens, but not often. But it's the small things that actually build longevity, because we're talking about longevity and lifestyle. We're not talking about like, all right, let's do this diet for radically change everything in 2 weeks. It doesn't usually hold. We're looking at longevity and lifestyle. So how can you build a lifestyle that provides longevity? So it's the small things putting in that is going to create the savings in your account, in your bank. And so then you get to ask yourself, okay, what behavior I'm doing, is that adding to my account or minusing from account? Okay, it's not about being perfect or a saint either. So it's something that minuses from your account. Oh, okay, so what small tips can I put in to deposit back, so I'm not depleting the bank?
I love that.
Or depleting the energy.
Yeah, I love that, because I think it's so easy to remember, right? Even me as a coach, I'm so not perfect. I've got my moments, I've got my things, but even
none of us are.
We do. I think mine is a lot of sleep. I'm terrible. Like, I'll drag and faff and go to bed. Like, for me, midnight is really late. I like being in bed at 10:30. So I'm trying to work my way back up. I go on and off, but I just love that the fact that, okay, cool. What have I done today to feel my bank, my health bank? Okay, I've eaten great meals. Oh, do you know what? I went to bed late the past 3 nights. How can I fill it up? Let me try to improve that. Let me try to eat food that's going to support my sleep. Like, I just love that. I think it's a great way. And especially, it's something that I'll probably do on a daily basis. Okay, cool. What have I done to fill my bank today? Okay, I've done that. Didn't make me feel good. So I've clearly taken away from my health bank. Like, I love that concept. Such a clever concept. Guys, grab your journal, take some notes. Take some notes.
The thing is as well. Sorry, I was going to say the thing is as well. Again, if we get too regimented, that can also add to another sort of burnout, because there's something I put in there about play and just being free and flowing. The thing is, actually, when we have enough in our health bank deposit, our body is in harmony, mind, body, and spirit is in harmony and balance, because that is our natural state of health. That is our true nature, as is Mother Nature, is to be thriving, is to be in harmony and in balance. So then when you do have 1 or 2 late nights, no big deal. Your body can bounce back from that, no problem. It's when it becomes
recurrent.
Yeah,
no, definitely. So the book is basically, that's the other thing I like about it, is sort of cut in 3 parts, which is the mind. So you talk about gratitude, the breath, and then the body. You talk about sleep, food, and then the soul. Like, I'd love you to talk about us a little bit more about the soul. It's something that I personally don't talk a lot about, because I always feel like, not that I'm not allowed to, but I always feel like I work on it a lot with my client on a one-to-one, but when I share content here on YouTube, it's not something I really go to, maybe because I'm a bit scared, but I feel like spirituality and soul and things like that are so personal that sometimes I'm like, I don't know where this person is. I don't know what to share, but I really enjoy your approach to it in the book, whether it's like self-love and talking about our vibration and the law of attraction, because these are things I believe in. And even manifestation, it's something that's very controversial, especially last year. I read a lot of people saying, oh, well, you can only manifest if you are already, I don't know, like rich or whatever, or like,
oh really?
Oh yeah, of course, there's been a lot of things like that. Or you'll manifest because you have a certain privilege. To a certain extent, I agree, right? To a certain extent, I agree, because I think some people in certain places in the world don't even have the space to think about that. They need to find food now, and like they're in war, like, it's these, definitely, I agree that it doesn't necessarily apply there, and it's not a situation I've been in, but I just love the approach you have in the book, because I really believe that we create the life we want, we attract what we want, and I believe it because I've done it. many times, you know, whether it was from, you know, stopping school and living a life that I was sort of born to have. You know, like my parents were very, very, like, the intellectuals, and we all went to amazing schools, and I started in like business and marketing, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna put my
Right,
on. I'm gonna dance. And my first job I remember was with Snoop Dogg and Pharrell. I was dancing.
wow.
I know.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. You did Kylie and worked with Kylie Minogue.
And Kylie, and I did a lot of jobs, but I had to create that new reality for myself. I had to come out of a bubble.
Yeah.
It demands
Yes.
sacrifices, it demands visualization, sorry. And even from there, leaving the dance world to then come into the wellness, it also required me to believe in it, believe in the change, believe that I could be something else than a dancer, because I've always seen myself as a performer. Obviously, I'm not denying the years of training, but I really believe in that. And same in health, that we can attract what we want if we put the effort, vibes into it. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your thoughts and what to expect in the book? And you talk about creating our dreams and vision boards, and yeah, like, I love all of that.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into that. So yeah, the soul part of the journey is, my belief, my perspective is that we're all spiritual beings living in human bodies, but actually we're energy. We are actually made up of energy. We are atoms vibrating, and we are bioelectrical beings as well. So from a science point, from quantum physics, we have an electromagnetic charge, which is in the brain, the heart, and the gut. Now, I really like that you brought up about, you know, well, can we manifest if it's you know, if it's not, what is it realistic for someone to manifest in? They're living perhaps in like where they're not seeing proof of that. I think what has also been but being portrayed a lot in law of attraction and manifestation is, you just think about it and it appears. No, you have to feel it. That's one of the most powerful things. You got to think and feel. It's got to become a visceral a visceral energy. And I do believe I also believe, you know, we all come in here to this vessel with soul contract, and our journey is for our growth and expansion, and some of those challenges may be very hard, but a part of us has perhaps at a soul level chosen to walk that path for some reason, to experience whatever perhaps part of their life purpose, why that the reason that they are here. And that's just my perspective. And you know, whoever or people listening don't have to agree with that at all. And I think that in terms of law of attraction, I think one of the things I put in the book is the emotional guidance scale. So checking in with yourself, where are your emotions? Because if you're feeling in despair and grief, which is at the bottom of the scale, it's very hard. It's hard to jump suddenly up 15 different emotions overnight to, oh, I'm in joy, I feel happy every day. No, but you reach for the next two above. So anger is better than despair, and you're still raising your vibration that way if you go from anger, from grief and despair. And in terms of my personal experience with vision boards has worked really well for me. My sister used to call me the manifestation queen. Like I've been started them about 10 years ago, and honestly, if I showed you some pictures, my gosh, I've manifested some amazing things. And I found that, like, if I have it there visually, because the brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. So, not that if I see it there, but if I start to feel it and I see it, it's going into my consciousness. It's a little bit like if I don't know, I remember when my older sister was pregnant and it was the first baby of the family, and I suddenly was like, everybody, like every woman I see in the street is pregnant. Yeah. But it's because my brain was seeing that now, because it was in my consciousness. Yeah. So really it's about our consciousness. And the more I start to see it in my consciousness with the vision board, the more it's going in at subconscious level. And we know through quantum physics that most of our behavior comes from the subconscious mind, around 95%. Not always helpful, right? Because we need to bring in conscious awareness to how am I actually living? What are the thoughts I'm having? Because it's the subconscious thoughts that are driving your behavior, and how and determining how you're moving and operating through the world. So if I so for example, like, you know, like as well, another example is if someone, they buy a new car and then suddenly they see their car like all over the road, and they're like, wow, everyone's got
that car.
Yeah. And it's like, they were just there before. It's the brain has to filter it out.
Yeah.
So in terms of law of attraction and manifestation, it's really about it expanding, directing our attention. Where you direct your attention, energy flows. So what are you paying? What are you giving your attention to? So if consciously I'm looking at my vision board, and one of the things I'd love, maybe I'll share a photo with you afterwards, because I recently did a talk on this with law of attraction. I wanted to work on retreats abroad and stuff years ago, and I had some pictures which I just googled in the internet and pictured random like yoga deck overlooking jungle or something. And then a couple of years later, I was standing on this yoga deck in Portugal, where I was working on a retreat. It was one of the first retreats I worked at. And I was like, this looks familiar. I've been here before. And I was like, and it took me like a few minutes to go, it's on my vision board. I looked at it, no joke. It is almost an identical picture.
Amazing.
But not the same picture, because it was just random on the internet somewhere in Bali, I think, and I was in Portugal, and I was like, wow. Incredible. But it had been going into my consciousness on every day. I'd be seeing it around there. I looked at it and I'd feel good. So then my brain,
I feel like it makes you, I mean, I always tell my clients when we work together, and even though it's wellness and, my main work is to help people get healthier on a broad level, right? Nutrition, movement, everything. But a lot of the time, their problem is not, it's because they feel overwhelmed. There's a lot going on in their head. They're confused about other stuff. And that's why they're not taking action. But when we talk about boundaries, and sometimes we talk about manifestation, I always say, manifestation with inspired action, because it's not about, I want 1 million.
That's right. That's true.
I want to be, I want to feel a certain way. I want to be toned. I want to have a strong body and feel this way and eat, feel fantastic. Yes. And having it on the board, I think, as you say, brings it into your consciousness. And because it's your consciousness, it's in your consciousness, you take those inspired action. It's not like you've forgotten about it. And that's why I like vision boards and having something in front of you. I don't have anything in front of me, but I want to always go on Pinterest, check mine out. I have a journal with everything I want, because I read these things all the time, and I remind myself it's here. So my actions are, because they come from my subconscious, they're in the consciousness. It then makes me take inspired action. So I think like it's a trickle. And I think that's where I agree with you. It's not about desiring something or wanting to manifest something. Because I think a lot of people that are not anti-manifestation, but there's always an anti-someone or something.
Oh, yeah, some people didn't like the vision board thing.
Yeah, or they think, manifestation is BS or whatever. I think sometimes they think, I want to manifest being in Mexico now. Well, ain't going to happen, babe. Those things takes time. Keep putting it, looking at it, put it in your diary. When would you want to go? Start looking at flights, how much it is. Okay, cool, this is how much money I have. Before you know, something is going to come into your life that's going to give you that opportunity to earn that money. That's what manifestation is everybody, you and the universe working together to reach that thing, right? So guys looking today and watching, don't think we're saying put it on your board and then it's going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
Yes. Exactly. And I think as well, to be honest, actually, I have had things where have put it there and left it, and it has literally just shown up.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I do have to work harder at it, you know. Sometimes I think as you get a bit older, your own self-doubt creeps in, but yeah, it's about the feeling and the action, and that's why building that connection with yourself, connecting to yourself, connecting to your higher self, to your soul, enables you to hear those messages and pick up on those synchronicities, and that gets you into alignment to go, aha, okay, yeah, having this conversation with this person, I'm connecting with this person. Oh right, you have a retreat, do you, in Portugal? Oh, that's interesting. I'm looking, and then put yourself out there. You know, so yeah, it's not like la la la. It's
but that's exactly it's for you. It might be easier to be a manifester, a little bit easier, because I agree with you. It's about being aligned with what you truly want, what is truly meant for you. This reminds me, when I was a professional dancer, I've done incredible jobs. I've honestly worked with pretty much everybody I wanted to work with. And there was an audition for Shakira, and there was maybe like 500 of us. I don't even know why I was so obsessed. I really, really wanted this job. But now that I look back, it wasn't aligned with me. Like, I don't even know if I care that much. I mean, I love Shakira, but anyway, I remember that audition process was so grueling. I wanted it so bad. I did everything, and I got till the end, and they were like, yeah, she wants 6 of you. I mean, there was 500 of us. Like, our industry can be brutal. Wow. It's hard work.
Wow.
And at the end, maybe the day before we were meant to travel, they dropped 3 of us because we were too tall. It was something so silly. And I remember I cried my eyes out. I was so sad. Like, I was so sad because I wanted it. And I feel like it was meant, or I don't even know. But then when I stepped away from my pain, and more importantly, my ego, right? Because I wanted it, because my ego, I wanted it, and that was it. I realized, no, I actually didn't want this for the right reasons. I would have missed my dad's 70th birthday, which was an important birthday. We were all going back home to Togo, all my brother and sisters. Oh. I would have missed some key moments. And I remember being at my dad's birthday and thinking, oh my God, like, how I never get to be with all my brothers and sisters because we are 11, so many of us. And I remember thinking, that was just my ego banging on about this job because it's important to have this job and blah, 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 blah. Because everything I think that was meant for me then, just things that are meant for me always come with ease. I never hustle. I don't have to like, every time I'm like, that means really let it go. Just let it go. Let it be. If it's not coming to you, there's a reason. Let it go. If it's meant to, it will come at some point, right? So I think for people like us, maybe that have been working on aligning ourselves and being authentic, it might be a little bit easier to manifest, to sense things, to be like, ooh, this is my ego talking. This is not my soul. Do you know what I mean? Do you agree?
Yes, but that ego is never the ego never dies. Nor should it.
No.
But yeah, it's starting to get that awareness. But I've also had experiences like that too, actually, not with the Shakira, but like another retreat that I had to pin all my hopes on and heart on. Is like, I want to be on that one. It would mean I'd go to Kenya for 6 months and stuff, and I was like adamant. And I got they pushed away from it a few times, and I saw that they had actually really essentially lied to me, because they said, oh, we recruit people like a year in advance. And then I saw someone else that I had done the training with suddenly a few weeks announcing that she had just been picked like a month later, and I was like, huh? I was so hurt. And but you know what, like, it wasn't meant for me, and it took me a long time to, like, I was like, why not, like, everything was sort of seemed like it was aligned up, and then that company went pretty much, I think a year later or so, it was kind of going under, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would have given everything up. I would have packed up my home, moved for 6 months, and then like had real probably instability a year later. So I was like, what's not meant for me will pass me by, and everything is a lesson or a blessing. Sorry, what's meant for you won't pass you, and everything's a lesson or blessing. But of course our ego wants to control. We want to control, like, no, that wasn't meant to happen. But it's only later, like a year later, or even in past relationships, that I'll see the lesson. I'm like, thank you.
See, especially relationships. Anyway,
I listened to your talk of relationship. I love that one with your friends.
Oh yes, oh God, we could go on for hours. Honestly, with relationships, the amount of time I forced relationships and friendship, and I was like, this is not working, Welly. Just let it go. Just let it go. I want us to finish. I'd love us to give us 5 kind of tips to anybody that's watching now and is feeling burnt out, fatigued, stressed. And maybe they can't afford to come and work with someone on a one-on-one, or maybe they're not sure yet. What should they do? Give us 5 steps, easy, actionable. Go, everybody, take your notebook, take your pen, go.
Okay. Get it out. Number 1 is sleep. Sleep is the best medicine you can have. It's free, it's anabolic. And start to get in sync with your sleep rhythm. Circadian rhythm is a biological rhythm of nature. So getting to bed a bit earlier, ideal time is around 10:30 and 6. You're going to get hormonal repair in that time. So sleep. If you're too burnt out, you don't have to do anything while you sleep. So sleep. Second one is start to become aware of your breathing.
Okay.
And perhaps take a breathing practice daily. Most people are breathing from the chest. They're shallow breathing. This triggers anxiety, even panic attacks as well. And it also is you're not getting the life force to your abdominal organs, and the vitality and health of your body is hugely determined by the life force going through all these abdominal organs, the liver, the kidneys, the colon. So start just bringing your breath down into the belly, grounding breaths, using the diaphragm. That's going to start to improve the health of your physiology, and you just breathing. Sleep, breathing. Third one, become aware of your thoughts as well, because thinking, your thoughts have a huge impact on your biochemistry. So if you start to become, most of our subconscious thoughts are negative. So if we start to just become aware and start intercepting those thoughts, okay, I'm having that, I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm too fat, or I'm overweight, or I should be doing this. Start to listen to that, because your body is responding to that. And if you were around somebody all day who was talking to you like that, you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel low. So you're continually draining your energy to yourself. So start to become aware of your thoughts and start to intercept them. No, that's not me. That's just my ego. Perhaps give your ego a bit of a name. Like your friend said, actually, I can't remember what her one was, and go, that's not really me talking. Start to change it. I am enough. And start to see how that has a difference on your biochemistry. Is that 3? 4, I think gratitude, going on from the thoughts, there's gratitude journaling as well. So sometimes when I felt really low or been heartbroken or another failed relationship, you're just like, but actually the last thing you might feel like doing is like, I'm so appreciate this. But actually, when you're feeling really low, just finding a few things that you feel grateful for can start to really lift your mood and start to just lift your state. And again, that has an effect on your biochemistry. All of these things.
And you attract more.
You do, because
being grateful is the key to, like, being grateful for what you have. Like every morning, just being like, God, thank you for my health. Thank you for this new client. Thank you for whatever. It's just the key to not only feel good and realize you actually already have more than half of what you wanted in the first place, but even having more, I think.
You're training the brain. You're training that brain to seek more of that feeling. You're
Yeah.
literally doing that. You're training the brain and all the neural pathways to seek more of that good feeling, and actually to realize, actually, do you know, I have got all that I need, because we're tuned into society to want more, to consume more, to not be enough, in this lack and this scarcity. But actually, when we go, I'm so grateful for my warm bed, I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, I'm grateful I've got some food in the fridge, suddenly, like, do you know what, a lot of people in the world don't have that. And that's not to dismiss at all how anyone's feeling. It's just to go, actually, in those times when I'm feeling low, there is always some glimmer, there is always a bit of a light there, to something to be grateful for. I'm even grateful for some shitty times that I've had now. Not then. And now I gratitude. I'm like, I'm so glad. I'm really grateful that my heart was broken badly years ago, and because now I feel the depth of what it feels like to feel the depth of love. I know the other side. I'm really grateful for that experience. Thank you. Even though it hurt, I wasn't grateful at the time.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm going back.
I agree. I love that. One of the things I'm the most grateful for, even though sometimes it winds me up. So I struggle with candida overgrowth, but having something like that just come in and out of my body and winds me up has taken me to such a journey of learning more about gut health. And sometimes it winds me up though, I have to be honest. I'm like, but one of the things is always like, God, I'm so grateful for my body, for sending me those signs of when there is a problem, when I have inflammation, I have pain, for letting me know I need to urgently look into something. I am grateful because sometimes I'll have things and then I go for a blood test and they're like, oh, it's something else. Like, I'm grateful that happens because I'm discovering that there was something else, and thank God, because God knows what would have happened in a few years, you know. So that's one of the things I always teach my clients in my one-on-one program, Recognize and Thrive, is let's first start being grateful for what we have now. I know we want to be somewhere. What you have now is amazing. The fact that your body's doing this is telling you, okay, cool, let's fix it, and you're fixing it. We're halfway there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just... Oh,
I totally resonate with that. The body, the wisdom of the body, and it tells you everything. When you tune into the body, it tells you, like, okay, this is what's going on. That is an absolute God miracle, and I've definitely become even more aware of that in this past year. And it's like, wow, I'm really listening. My body will tell me everything, and that is...
Tell me what's up. And number 5, I think you gave us 4.
5, yes. Nature. Get out in nature. Nature's so healing, and it's also expansive. You know, sometimes I find especially working more from home and on computers, I wasn't really used to that before. So I find that, especially if you live in a city as well, your vision can become quite narrow. You know, you sort of start to filter out the buildings. When you get into the countryside and nature, your field opens up more. It's like, it's expansive. So getting nature's healing, I just find it really recalibrates me. Sometimes I just walk barefoot on the grass, even though it was a bit cold and probably people were looking alike. Sometimes I just stand up against a tree.
That girl.
With my back against it, and I feel like I'm like, recalibrate. I can feel the vibration of it.
I agree with you, and I think I should do that more often. Me personally, I don't get enough out in nature. I started this year a lot because I worked with this Anusha, this fantastic EFT practitioner, and I'm willing to work on some personal stuff. I mean, I'm always out here trying to grow and working with coaches myself because I love it. And like we said, anything that brings me closer to myself, I'm all up for it. Anything that allowed me to tap into the heart and stop the distraction and stop lying to myself and stop letting my ego, I'm into it, right? And one of the things she told me, because she does also astrology. Oh God, this Indian girl. She does astrology, and she was like, you're in your chart or whatever. Everything was so accurate. She was like, your body and mind are craving nature. Like you're not going out enough. And I know it because I crave it, but I don't do it. And it's almost like she gave me the permission to go. So I started doing walks, like 3-4 walks every week. It was great. Then I fell off the bandwagon. I'm kind of sort of back on it a little bit now, but it feels so good. I'm like, why don't you do it well? You're asked out.
It does, but it's easier when the sun is out all the time, isn't it? And it's not like sun and then snow the next day, which is what happened last weekend.
I know. Crazy.
I went out Sunday I was sitting on my doorstep in a t-shirt, like because I don't have a garden, urban life. I was sitting on the doorstep with my laptop in a t-shirt, and I was like, oh, I feel the sun on my skin. The next day, went for a walk with my partner, had a massive puffer jacket, and I was like, it was biting cold. We just turned back. I was like a snow coat. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so windy, the chill. Oh my goodness.
That's London for you, babe. That's London.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for taking the time. You guys, you can get the book. If you're in London, you can get it on Francesca's website, which I'll put the link in the bio, Francesca Blechner, on her website. If you're into breathwork, she's a breathwork facilitator as well. I heavily recommend breathwork. I haven't tried with Francesca, but I've been doing it for years. It just brings you back there, I think. And if you are in the US, I know a lot of you here are in the US and in Canada. My US people say, what? Canada, US, Paris, and everybody else. West Africa as well. I know there are a few of you here on the channel. You can get this on Amazon, Waterstones, and sort of just type the book name online and it'll come up.
Barnes and Noble as well for US and Canada, I think.
Go get it. Francesca, I love you. I'm grateful for you.
Oh.
Time. Everybody else, I'd love to hear from you in the comment. What resonated with you in this conversation? What are your thoughts? Where are you in your journey? If you're struggling with burnout, fatigue, and you're just thinking, what the heck? Where am I going to start? Talk to us in the comment and we'll come answer. Mwah. Bisous, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
You're welcome.